Hi, everybody. Welcome to North of MAGA. I'm your host, Pierre Shields. I'm here to give you a Canadian's perspective on what's going on in the American political landscape and also interesting things that are going on around the world. So today, I want to talk to you about what Mark Carney has done with the retaliatory tariffs. Here we go. So big news Friday from Ottawa. Prime Minister Mark Carney has scrapped many of Canada's retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. But what does that actually mean for businesses, consumers, and Canada's trade future? Let's break it down. So, on August 22nd, 2025, Prime Minister Carney revealed that Canada will remove its 25% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods that fall under the USMCA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. These tariffs were imposed initially in response to U.S. Trade barriers on Canadian energy, minerals, and other products. So, Carney emphasized this move mirrors recent U.S. exemptions on Canadian USMCA compliant goods. He called it a strategic reset to restart stalled negotiations ahead of the USMCA review next year. Important caveat. So Canada is not dropping all tariffs. So levies on U.S. steel, aluminum, and automobiles remain firmly in place. Those are still sensitive areas where Canada is maintaining pressure. This particular rollback targets mostly consumer goods like orange juice, appliances, wines, and motorcycles, but preserves duties on key industrial imports. So I got to be honest with you, I didn't know that we were not respecting part of the USMCA, and mea culpa. I feel kind of bad because I was complaining that I thought the Americans were doing that. Okay, it's us. I understand why we did that and why because we were trying to put some pressure on the red states. So orange juice was to put a bit of pressure on Florida, and there's also the alcohol to put pressure on Kentucky and California, and so on and so on. Okay, so why this sudden change? Well, Carney's shift comes after productive calls with President Trump earlier last week. Trump called the move nice and described it as a gesture to reignite trade talks. Okay, nice we are. Crucially, over 85% of Canada-U.S. trade is already tariff-free under the USMCA. Carney framed the tariff removal as aligning with that reality and reinforcing Canada's strong trade position moving forward. Yet, not everyone is on board. So union leaders and opposition politicians, because of course, sounded alarms, calling it a capitulation that undermines Canadian leverage at a critical juncture. I don't know. I'm not an economist. Time will tell, I guess. So what are the impacts we have to watch for? Well, there's the economic relief for consumers and businesses. So lower tariffs mean cheaper consumer goods and potentially eased input costs from manufacturers. Diplomatic reset. It's viewed as a confidence-building move ahead of the USMCA renegotiations in 2026. It opens doors for higher-level trade talks and security talks. The political backlash, though, at home is that the labor unions warn that the removal weakens Canada's bargaining power. Some provinces see it as abandoning domestic workers. Looking ahead, Canada and the U.S. are expected to kick off formal USMCA review talks as soon as next month. Negotiations could take anywhere from 6 to 18 months. If these talks yield progress, Canada may further ease tariffs or secure stronger protection in areas like autos and metal. If not, the remaining duties could stick around as leverage. So Friday's major trade move, Canada dismantles many of its retaliatory tariffs, keeping some in key sectors, and bets on diplomacy to steer future trade policy. What do you think? Smart maneuver or too much of a concession? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any updates.